Hello, my beautiful guys and dolls, and welcome to an episode of Before the Curtain. I'm your host, Abbie Campbell, and we are here to discover the passion behind the performance. Artists of all backgrounds will share their stories about what it takes to create, survive, and thrive in the competitive world of entertainment. Finding inspiration in their journeys, we aim to bring you everything that happens before the curtain. Today's guest is an absolute gem of a person, artist, dancer, educator, and choreographer. For 11 years, she's been a performer with Cirque du Soleil, appearing in The Beatles' Love and Michael Jackson 1. You may have seen her perform in the Latin Grammys, Blind Spotting on Stars, Live with Kelly and Ryan, or dancing alongside Jennifer Lopez. She continues to contribute as a master teacher and choreographer for multiple schools and companies across the U.S., including UNLV, Lindenwood University, Joffrey Ballet School, and Theater Arts Preparatory School in Las Vegas. Buzz Entertainment, Scarlet Entertainment, and TNG Modeling Agency. And to top it all off, she has a BA in Dance and Advertising from Chapman University and a Master's in Business from Louisiana State University. So my guys and dolls, please help me welcome to the mic the breathtaking Alison Burke.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you. So where are you from?
I'm from Dallas, Texas. You can't tell I have no accent because my parents are both from Michigan, and I feel like I kind of took on their kind of Michigan accent. So I kind of have like a nothing burger accent, but I'm from Texas.
So what? So from Texas, how did you end up in Vegas?
So from Texas, I was a comp kid, studio kid, like competitive dancer. I think one year I had 5 solos, like for the year. I was just always competing. But then I wanted to study dance in college. I wanted to go to school. I think I really needed those 4 years to develop as a human being. So I went to Chapman University. I looked at a few schools, but Chapman was awesome. It's in Orange County, and it's near LA, but it's like removed and kind of in like a sweet town in the city of Orange. And so I went into that program for 4 years and met the most amazing people and expanded my artistry, I would say, because I just had the competition kid lens, and I think to like start to think about movement and art in a different way for those 4 years. It was incredible. So I went to college for 4 years in OC. And then I moved to LA after that and wanted to be, a big star. And that LA, you got to pay your dues. You got to put in the time. But my LA journey was short-lived because I had been auditioning for Cirque about that year out of college and really aggressive about my wanting to be in Cirque. And I got the call. So about a year out of school, I moved to Vegas, and I've been here ever since.
Love.
Now I'm a Vegas local. What is that?
Oh, I love that. Where was the inspiration to kind of get education in advertising and business?
So I've always had 2 forces working within me, left brain and right brain, you could say. And I have this creative spirit, this need to tell stories and tell the world, send a message, through movement. But I also have this left side of my brain working where I have a need for structure, stability. I have this business girly inside of me, And so I think I really wanted to maximize those 4 years in school to make sure that, I'm developing my right side, my brain in my artistry, but also developing that left side with another avenue that interests me. And advertising and PR and marketing has always been something really interesting to me. And I think it all kind of coincides too, because with our art and choreography and like presenting things on stage or film, it's for the world to see. And I think advertising is right along in there. So I figured all that could kind of actually like feed the other and come into one study. So I did that. And then while I've been performing in Vegas, I really wanted to keep learning and keep growing my professional skills in a business sense. So I did my master's online, and I graduated a few years ago from that. But I always like to keep a few different irons in the fire, like keep growing, keep developing. I can never like sit and stay and do nothing. So that kind of paints a picture of me. But that's why I've kind of spread my studies and spread my interests with a wide cast net.
Is there anything you've learned from those specialties that have influenced your dance career or journey?
Sorry, can you?
Is there anything you learned from like the business side of it? So like because you also
Mm.
have that like business advertising, education, and from what it sounds like passion or like interest in it, has that influenced your dance career or like changed how you approached anything?
I definitely think so, because I think a common misconception about dance or being a dancer is that it's only about, the art and the movement and creating and kind of being in the lab and in this creative space. But there is so much work that goes into being professional alongside that, and how you showing up on time, showing up, through communications, through emails, through admin, through how you communicate with others, like how you present yourself in the space, because you are your own business in this industry. So how do you represent yourself? And I think learning about business and how group dynamics work as well in the business sense is really interesting. We work in kind of a different realm, I would say, but human behavior is something that's universal. And how businesses are successful, or learning from, mistakes from past businesses, doing those studies can kind of like open your mind to how you can invite that into how you show up in a space and work in group dynamics, or when you're leading a group. I think that's a lot. My business studies have really helped me hone in my leadership skills and kind of define how I want to lead, because I think efficiency and clear communication in any space like creates a free environment, despite what it may sound like with kind of those rigid parameters of clarity of communication and all of the details. It actually can create freedom, because once everybody knows what the deal is, then you can like kind of paint inside the lines. So I think the business studies have helped me develop as a leader as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a Navy SEAL, and I'm never gonna. Oh wait, no, I do remember his name. His name is Jocko Willink, and he wrote a book called "Discipline Equals Freedom."
Oh,
And just
love.
that statement alone
Yeah.
is like, yes,
Yes.
yes, discipline
Yeah.
equals freedom.
And it's contradictory. It sounds contradictory, right? You're like, well, freedom means, being free and not having any boundaries, but actually like the deepest freedom, I think, comes from discipline. I need to read that book.
Oh, it's actually a pretty short read, but it's really good about how building foundations and building structure allows it's more of like the more you know about what's in your tool belt and how to use those tools, the more you can do with them, kind of.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. And I love what you're saying, because understanding your personal tools is something that is huge for me. Because I even think almost like restrictions can create like pathways. So like for me with I'm just going in. For me with like my own dancing and my own choreography, there were times where I have chronic injuries in my feet and in my hips. And there were times where I would be in my kind of all or nothing thinking, being like, well, if I even have one or two of these chronic injuries, like my dance career's over, like all of this is over. There was a shift that happened when I actually was like, what if I can like work around this and understand movement in a different way? And maybe working in a turnout with my hips and my feet and working in a releve is just like not something that is feasible for me anymore, or something I can really count on. It actually created a lane for me to work and create my own movement and choreography, kind of working with what the tools I've got. And that then defined like what I wanted to say in my own personal movement. So it's something that I saw as holding me back, then immediately kind of like transitioned into something that showed me the way of where I wanted to go. And it was cool to flip like something that felt so negative to like a positive, and it gave me direction. It's kind of like, Bob Fosse, it's like his technique was developed from the tools in his tool belt. And, and so not comparing myself to Fosse at all, I just can really be inspired by that way of thinking that can then create your own personal style.
Yeah, and limitation breeds creativity.
Yes, yes.
If you really want to say something or do something and it's like, oh, I can only do it this way. You have to start thinking outside the box, and it makes you, flip your perspective.
Yeah,
and change how you can use where you're at right now to continue to do what you want to do, which
Yes.
I think is also really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. It's really good.
I love it. That's a hill I will die on. Limitation breeds creativity.
Oh, it does. Give me parameters. Give me limitations. Give me problems to solve. And then, ooh, okay, great. Creative problem solving is the name of our game. It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
I love that. Okay, so a little bit of a jump back to what you said a little bit ago, because as you were talking about how you're like balancing this right brain, left brain, and then how it's like really you love the structure and all of those things. As soon as you started saying that, I was like, oh yeah, I can see it. I see it in your choreography. I see it in how you like dance, because everything is so like purposeful and thought through. Like everything. I love also raving about the guests that I have on. I'm like, oh, you guys are so cool. So you're just really here for me to tell you how cool you are.
Thank you.
And I love seeing how when guests talk and I'm like, oh yeah, yes, I see it, because you are so like passion and storytelling just like oozes from you, yet it's so like put together and like structured. And what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like building a house. Like if I was watching somebody build a house, that's how I would describe watching you.
I have the chills.
Oh
you get me. You get me so much, because thank you, by the way. But you get me in such a deep level, because when I was about to come on this podcast, I started to do some deep reflection about what is my crazy? Like, what is my process? What's my method, And I started to think deeply about this. And architecture, so when you talk about building a house, architecture is where I start. And that's why I love to travel too, because I think seeing different architecture, old world architecture, fills me up in a way, in a creative space. So like my creative heart just like bleeds and like bursts when I travel. So for me, when I'm creating, I think architecturally first. So of course, when I say first, okay, like 1A is finding music that like makes me want to move. That's the roadmap. That's something that then is like the roadmap to start to build the architecture. I think in shapes, I think in lines. I start drawing on, I still use a notebook. Like I still use and the notebook would not make any sense to anybody else but to me. And it's all like project on this page, and then on the back of this page, I've written in lip liner, this formation. Like sometimes when you don't have a pen, you just use what you got. But I start with shapes. I start with formations. I start with movement on stage patterns. Really love patterns. I think that's the Virgo in me. I really love patterns and I love structure. So once we have the structure, and I think I see how I want bodies to build and move on stage, then I get to shade and texturize with the movement and with the intention and to me, the music plus the architecture with the movement then added in last is like the perfect harmony for me.
Yeah. I love that. Because yes. But also, okay, sorry, I'm like talking a lot. But
Me too.
I but I always like, because I teach kids, so I always tell them like, choreography is just the blueprint to the house you need to build, and now you need to put on the paint on the walls and you need to decorate it. That's where you come in.
Yeah.
But there is also just something about your choreography and the things that I've seen from you that I encompass all of it, like the whole thing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. It's the layering. I think in layers, and my brain, I judge my brain a lot, but I think sometimes I need to just be appreciative and just kind of go with it. But the way I work is like kind of in stages and layers, and it's really hard for me to start kind of meshing until one is fully formed before the other, I think in stages. And so creating, and sometimes when when it's ambiguous to start, it gets overwhelming, because I want to kind of nail down things. So I think that's been a challenge for me lately is it's like if you have all of these possibilities, like to reach into, dive into, it's like which one do you go with and like put full force in so then you can create these stages. Because I'm trying to keep leveling up and I kind of am examining my process each time with each choreography project or like movement direction project. I reflect back and I think, okay, this went well, but where's there an opportunity for me to like examine my process and maybe like let ambiguity and a little bit of blur like feel okay, feel right for the process and let things kind of breathe. Not everything needs to be so structured because life man plans and God laughs. I love that quote, right? And so we can plan all you want, but when we are creating in the human space with human beings and we ourselves are human, it's like, anything can transpire and happen. And sometimes that what grows from just being a human and making human mistakes or making different choices, like new ideas and patterns can form. So I'm in a place of wanting to be really open and I have my process, but I want to like look into it a little bit, see how we can, fine tune.
So as a dancer growing up, were you more of like storyteller type or were you very much like as a young dancer, like, the technician, the structure,
Okay. As a young dancer, I was like highly emotional on stage. Like, like in terms of like facial expressions and telling stories that like maybe they were situations I had never been through, like a breakup. I'm like dancing about losing, going through a breakup at like 14 years old and I had never had a boyfriend, but the way I'm like hugging onto this jacket and like looking like I'm sobbing on stage, like, I was there's like videos of me on YouTube that my mom like uploaded this solo of me from when I was 15, like years and years ago. This is like 15 years ago. Uploaded it. I don't know. And she doesn't remember the password to the account, but I've tried to report her to be like, can you take this video off the internet? It's so cringe, but it's little baby me, just being highly emotional, telling the story. It's These Foolish Games by Jewel. And I have this jacket and it's like, I run and I like, the jacket's on the ground. I run and like slide onto the jacket and then I like curl into a ball with it. And like, at the time, it really worked. Like I did get the trophy that was really tall. I don't know where that trophy is now, but it's like to watch now. I'm like, but I think storytelling was my favorite part about being on stage when I was a kid because I also appreciated. So you tell the story, but I loved the high stakes feeling of it. Like you are on stage. And that's why I did 5 solos like one year. It's like I loved being by myself and like having the weight and like the stakes of telling the story to an audience and executing the tricks. I was a turner, so like turns were like such a mind game, but like, man, there's nothing better when you would nail the like quadruple like coupe turn and then you like decide to come down. Oh my God.
It's the best moment.
Oh my God, it's the best moment. So I loved telling stories with like a lot of emotion. And then I really loved the like drive and pressure to execute and like nail the routine. I had this like, I want to be perfect, which in turn was tough to be a perfectionist because it's impossible to be really perfect. And so I would, when I would get off stage and something wouldn't go well, like I remember I was super drama, like when I was 12 and like I didn't nail the turns and like I kind of like tripped a little bit because I'm a little clumsy. And I remember I just like fell to my knees off stage, just started crying so hard because I just felt like it was the end of the world. I really like felt everything so deeply. And I thought that was the end of my dance career, because I didn't hit the turn. So a lot of emotions went into my like competition days and it's shaped me like how I am today. And I have to remember that nothing is the end of the world, especially like when it comes to like this. This is a beautiful art that we get to do and practice and share stories. And so that coupe turn, like I haven't thought about her until today. It's okay. It wasn't the end of the world. Yeah. So crazy.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So always being a dancer was something that was always going to happen for you professionally.
Yeah. I knew it. But I will say I was never the best dancer. And I think best dancer is like, I'm just using this for an example, but I don't think there is any best dancer, right? But in terms of like the levels of any room I was in, conventions or competitions, like I truly was not ever that first place best dancer. But I had a strength and a power to my storytelling and to my execution that I think is like still why I'm able to do it today. I dance with the most currently and have the most elite, incredible styles, dancers, athletes. Like it's amazing to look around and be just so proud to be where you are because you just are so inspired by those around you. But I know what I bring to the table. And that is a professionalism, off stage, but on stage, an understanding of space, an understanding of projection, of performance, execution, and clean. I am a clean dancer. There's going to be no in between or a stutter step. Like I mean what I say with my steps. And so I think that's why I've been able to continue to have a career, because I can get down on myself being like, I wish I was like better, or I had more access to like parts of my body. You know, I'm getting stiffer by the day, you know, I'm 33. So I can get hard on myself about maybe what I don't have. But then I try to just flip it and remember what I do have. And what I've always had is that wanting to tell stories and an execution. And that's what I think that's my strength. That's what I've got to give. Yeah.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Why is telling stories through dance important to you? It's a big question.
Telling stories through dance is really important to me because words, I'm talking a lot, but even so, I wish I could say things better. I have always been like, as I communicate, I kind of can pull apart my words, and I always want to be a more clear communicator. But with dance and movement, I think, and with clarity in that, I think that is my most sacred language. And I don't worry about wanting to have another word or say things a different way. It feels like it's authentically me. It's coming from me inside, like my soul. And so where words can fail me, like movement doesn't. And I think telling a story in that way, visually, with that language, is something that's also meant to be shared. And that's really important to me, is to make people think or feel or take a break for a second of their life or their grocery list or their, you know, A, B, and C that they are thinking about, and just to get lost in a performance and in a story. And even if the story isn't like clearly outlined, right? It's not like beginning, middle, end, something that is like, oh, I get exactly what that is. I think even just opening the mind, that might even just make them feel something, is something really beautiful. Because I have a very, very giving spirit. And now in my 33 years of age, I think I've been able to harness that to where I can give from a full heart. And I think as I was younger, I didn't really know who I was, but I wanted to give. So when you give it all out, then you've got nothing left for yourself if you don't continue to fill your cup and know who you are. So I think storytelling is the giving. And that's all I want in this world, is to give to others and spread positive joy, curiosity, and I think like relief too. Relief from day-to-day phone technology, like be here now, that feeling. Yeah.
So when was it that you felt it on your heart to start really teaching more?
I remember it was during the pandemic. We got kind of like, we all sat down for a second, and I was at the time working 10 shows a week at Beatles Love, and so I kind of didn't know what to do with the quiet, and I started to create just on my own, and I had this like kind of time to really think about like, like what do I want to say, or like what moves me? Because when you do 10 shows a week, you can get really stuck in the same pattern of movement. And I started to open my mind a little bit, and I was teaching on like Instagram, or like a kind of like live Instagram. Do you remember this era? Like this was so crazy.
Yes, because I took ballet classes
Yeah.
in the pandemic.
Right. Wow. And I found myself like really loving it and feeling connected. And I had done teaching gigs before, but in terms of like kind of really falling in love with it, it was during the pandemic. It all kind of became clear for me, and the pandemic, for the good and for the bad, like it provided clarity on, new ventures I wanted to step into. So I started choreographing and teaching, and we were in the masks, and that was so crazy. But yeah, I found too, I started teaching regularly, like weekly spots at Prodigy and Millennium during pandemic as like restrictions were lifted. And I really liked having that, a weekly class, because it kept me kind of accountable to continue creating, right? And so you can't teach like the same class like every week. You have to kind of keep like going back to the drawing board. What do I want to say this week? Like, what's the question of the week this week? Or what song did I hear the other day that is like, I gotta do something to this. So I liked that. I liked having the structure of every week trying to do something different. And that opened my world up to kind of sharing what I've got to say to a group of people, because I really like to lead from a place of empowerment. But I think there were, maybe before the pandemic, I knew I was being called to be a leader and a teacher in that way, but I didn't quite know how to harness it because I didn't trust myself too much. Like a growth journey was like needing to happen for me to then trust my own voice, because you want to lead and you want to leave spaces better than when you found them. But if you don't really know like who you are, or you're still cooking on it, or you're feeling insecure, it's hard to like fully lead from a place of where you can really understand and see and observe like the scope, the room in front of you. And I think the pandemic just kind of shifted that for me. And I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready to start leading a room towards in a positive direction. Whether that means like, I think something too is I used to be very judgmental towards myself. And I think what I realize is like, I want to teach from a place of getting rid of judgment. I want to empower students to stop judging themselves and just be curious about what they notice. Curious, and take it as like data. Take the emotions out of it, going like, I didn't execute that correctly this time. Let me take inventory as to why. So I started, again, when I started to teach and teach more, I developed this kind of methodology of how I wanted to do it. And that was really, really exciting, because teaching is so much fun. You see the most beautiful things happening, and you get to see people come in one way as themselves. That's beautiful. But like, together you're in a room, hour and a half, and everyone leaves differently, a little different. They learned a little something new about themselves, or about a movement pathway, or about, maybe their emotions, they came in not feeling awesome, and then they come out like having felt like they were able to get it off their chest. And movement, it can really do that. So I love teaching. It's fabulous.
You do all that you've intended to do.
Oh, good.
By the way, never have I ever felt so pushed yet so safe at the same time.
Oh, love. That's exactly what I want. Yeah. Yes.
Like, it's so opposite, yet so like, okay, yeah, I'm going to have my shit together. But if I mess up, it's okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's like the space I want to create. I like to create a little bit of pressure, because I think pressure and challenge, almost like putting stakes to it. Like there's a reason why you need to have your focus and your chest open towards this corner. There's a reason. And you are looking not because I told you to look, you're looking to actually see past this room, like see the story, see the scene, like give me something, please. Like I want it for you. Like, so there's a little bit of pressure of like each movement really having that intention. But also I will celebrate your journey to get there. And maybe it's not fully developed, but like I want everyone to feel like seen and celebrated in the room. So I'm glad you get me. You do.
Like I said, I like raving about all my guests because, I also don't know how many people have told you guys this.
Oh, yeah. I feel very loved and appreciated in the dance community here. Vegas is a really beautiful space for that. I feel so loved, so seen, and I feel very inspired by all of my peers and students, and I think there's an exchange here. So thank you. I do feel the love here.
Oh,
so
yay.
Thank you.
Good. Throughout your journey, what has been the most surprising thing you've learned? Whether it's in dance, in your career as a teacher, maybe logistically, maybe about yourself.
Mm-hmm. I think the most surprising thing I've learned is that there is a space for me in the industry, me and my body. I dealt with a lot of body issues growing up, like so much. I think being in front of a mirror since you're like 2 years old, that critical eye that I have that it can really serve me in a lot of ways, like it also really took me down. And I'm someone who never wants to create harm towards others. I would just only hurt myself. I really kept it really close to the chest, and I had really a kind of a private hell of how I felt about myself, my value, how I looked at my body, all these things. And I think the most surprising thing for me is when I decided to let go of my eating disorder 8 years ago and just be a human. And I think the surprising thing for me was like I'm welcome here. Like I'm seen. My art and my dancing and my choreography and my teaching like is all valuable and needed and necessary, even if I don't look a certain way. Yeah, it was like, I think the most beautiful shift that happened for me. Yeah.
I thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't know, in this past week or so, that's one of those, there's a sentence that's been really on top of mind for me, and it's the idea that, like, if it wasn't needed in the world, you wouldn't feel the need to give it.
Wow.
So, like, when people and dancers and artists, doubt themselves, and, I mean, anyone, when it's like, oh, should I be doing this? Can I really do this? Why should I do this? Or I feel like I'm never going to get there, and it's like, where you wouldn't be feeling it if it wasn't needed.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that strong desire in your heart, in your soul, and in your knowing to do something about it if somebody didn't need it.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one person, even if it's just a couple of people, like there is a reason you feel that way. And I think it's massive to get out of our own ways. I'm clearly having a week.
Girl. Something's going on in the stars, but that's beautiful. No, it is the greatest journey. I saw Odyssey recently. So man, I just feel like this journey back to me, that I've been on. Like, I think I'm in more of a sweet spot than ever, which is really, really cool. And you go through those like really tumultuous waters, and you kind of maybe just don't even see an end in sight, or think like, is it always going to be this way? The way I pick myself apart, and I'm so mean can be so mean to myself and just kind of overanalyze and not really allow myself to enjoy any certain moment because there's always something looming about a mistake you've made or something in the past. And those are those like tumultuous waters, like the the boat, there's like a hole in the bottom of the boat and then you're trying to cover it up. But like it's kind of amazing when you just let go. And the letting go, surprising, beautiful things happen from there. Yeah. Yeah. And then you're able to listen to your own instincts and why you feel called to share. And our art is sharing and it's giving. And you go with that. And as long as you're doing that in alignment with your soul and your heart, always leading with your heart, like you really can't ask for more or ask for more from yourself. If you just really went all in and did your best, that has just got to be enough. It's got to be enough. I'm looking at a mirror. That's got to be enough for you. It's doing your best.
Amen. I could go on like a full hour rant about that topic.
Same.
But before I get ahead of myself, has there ever been a moment where you were like, I think I'm going to quit. I think I'm going to quit dance. I got to go do something else. I can't do this anymore.
Probably when no. I always need it. I know that I need it in my cells, like to do dance in some way, shape, or form. I think what's happening right now is a shift in me, which is really cool because I've been doing 10 shows a week for 11 years now. And my body, she's texting me constantly being like, girl, this hurts. This hurts. And I'm like texting back, but I love it. Like, this is like, this is the greatest job in the world to be able to do what you love and, and make a living for it. But I'm feeling a shift lately to move on from the stage and work behind the scenes and empower stages in a different way. So I feel called for that. So I don't think about, maybe I might be hanging up my tap shoes in terms of doing like consistent 10 shows a week, but I'm excited about kind of transitioning and doing like going on a new journey with dance. I don't think I'll ever stop. I've maybe like when I've been injured or like I've had 2 hip surgeries and a foot surgery, and I think during those times I question like, am I able to do this? Is my body able? But you come back stronger. You come back differently too because you have these limitations like we talked about, and those resistance points and those limitations then can kind of like chart how you move next. And so I've kind of taken every injury recovery as like a new chapter, and how am I going to move in my dance journey like from there with these, with recovering from an injury, or now, I got a new hip. We got to be careful. Like, how can we, move from there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I ask what kind of behind the scenes stuff you want to do next? Or do you not want to share? Because that's fine too.
I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
I've had the privilege of, over the last like few years, really diving into, as well as my performing career, I've been able to do some movement direction and choreography work and directing for various projects for film and stage. And I absolutely love it. I really like working as a part of a team as well, like with a creative director or with formal director. And then I'm a kind of movement coach or a choreographer. It's really amazing to be on set specifically. And I can recall a most recent shoot, which was incredible. I was co-director and a choreographer for the shoot, but it was fire dancing. And I've never choreographed with fire before. So I really was like, this is fun. This is new. This is so cool. And high stakes, pressure. I like that. That's different. So working on that set was incredible. I was working with an amazing recording artist named Kara. She is a good dear friend of mine, but I've done various works for her, and we've put things on a stage and on film. And this one, she was like, all right, she called me. She's like, we're going to set this on fire. She had never worked with fire before. So we had her actually train with Miss Bridgie Nix. We
love
love
Bridgie Nix.
We love Bridgie Nix. And we were over at Bridgie's house. She was teaching and coaching Kara with fire. And Kara immediately, she's such a badass and got it right away, the comfortability with the elements. And then Miss Taylor Jane came on as the counterpart for Bridgie. So it was Kara and Bridge and Taylor. So working with that trio of girls is like incredible anyway, because 3 forces of nature, just incredible strength and charisma and confidence. So I was like, this is so fun. But being on that set and having Bridget really also brief me and the team about the stakes on set of letting fire props rest for a certain amount of time. So you can't just shoot scenes or sections over and over again, because this section deals with like the hand torches, and then this section deals with the fans. But they're only going to stay lit for about 2 minutes, and then you have to let it rest. So we would have to go like, okay, hand torch section 1, and then, all right, let those rest. Fans section 3. We were jumping around, and we had the space for only a limited amount of time. We're in an enclosed space. So the smoke, we had to make sure there's like ventilation. And I'm kind of like working with the camera cinematographer and with the artists and kind of going back and forth playing music, but making sure everything is like timed correctly. And I absolutely loved this. The experience working on this team where everybody has this common goal of working efficiently, but getting the best shots, it was amazing. It was like we were doing choreography as a team back there. So I really, in that moment, was like, this is something I want to continue doing, like working on a team, but also making sure that we stay on track. Because efficiency is like my favorite thing. I love it so much. I call myself a time junkie because I love playing with time, like maximizing time, but staying exactly on time. So like, how can you like stretch time, like pinch to zoom with time, but you stay exactly within the confines. And so I think with that, my time junkie little spirit was really excited to like keep things moving. And the video just turned out amazing. And, that team was incredible. But it just really showed me like, oh, this is like a space I need to continue to be in.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's almost like a high.
Yes, it really is. It's amazing. It's so good. It's the best feeling when you leave that day, when you leave any shoot, but like that day, I'm covered in soot. And like I'm getting in my car that has like white seats.
Oh, no.
And I like at that point, I just like didn't care. I was like, this is the best feeling in the world when you get to work with incredible people, see beautiful things transpire and happen and guide that process. But when I'm guiding, I love to also let things like breathe. So give details. But when I'm movement directing, when it's like not about choreo counts, movement directing is really fun because you're giving the textures, visuals, something to think about, and then you kind of let it live. And I love seeing artists what transpires from that feeling, letting it breathe, letting it live. And then you're kind of calling out like, yes, more of that. Ooh, hit the right corner just a little bit more, hold it, stretch it. Now slow motion. Like I love kind of guiding, giving tasks like in that space. It's so beautiful. And you're just like, wow, I get to do this like for a living. Like, huh? This is so cool.
Create so much.
Yeah.
So this is the point. What is your funniest story as a performer?
Well, okay. One thing about me is a batma is always going to take me down. Not always, but like it has historically taken me down. And so there I was on stage and I threw in like a nice, a nice tilt batma, threw it up. I was a little younger, so it was like really high and like a really good one. Really good. But I kicked so hard. It hit me like in the head and bonked me back. And then I fell like flat in an X on stage, just like flat like an X. And like at this stage, I was super close to the audience. So they're all just like, and there's something though that takes over us. Like when we fall, we levitate, like if you're good, like if you don't knock yourself out, like, but I didn't. I levitated up and immediately was up by like the next 2 counts and like kick step ball change, no problem. But like, I love like the art of falling. Like the dancer fall is so great because it's almost like the way we levitate up, resume business as usual, nothing happened, glue it back on, we're good, go back out there. Like, I love this like resilience we have. And so but I've kicked myself in the head and fallen backwards like probably 4 times in my performing career, like on stage in front of people. Yeah.
I love that.
It's the bot Maz. I think
it's always a good one.
I'm in a place to retire my bot Maz, I actually think. Yeah. Yeah, no one needs to see me do that again. I'm good. I did enough, you know.
You know, I did that at an audition once. So I know exactly what you're talking about because I did it. I bot mod and foot slipped, fell straight down on my hip and rolled and got up and made that reach by 6. Okay, you bet your ass I was not going to miss it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's almost like a blackout.
Yeah,
and like the only goal that has taken over your body is you have choreography. You got to get back.
Oh yeah. You get back up and you make it look like nothing ever happened. But you know something did because then after when you get off stage, you're like,
ow.
And like, you know, when you're younger, like when those things happen and like it would be like upsetting. Like, I feel like I'm at the point in my career now where it's just really, really funny. There I go again. There you go again.
Yep.
It's so funny.
It is. It's great. It's like, oops.
And this is what it is to be alive on stage. You are living your life. You are alive on stage. And sometimes you run over a curb, you know, and it's like that happens to us. Or you get a flat tire. That's my favorite. It's like my friend like sometimes we'll be walking like on stage in our heels or something. And like she like stepped on the back of my heel for a second. And like she was like, oh, sorry, I gave you a flat tire. And I like loved that. That's so funny. But it's like we are living like life on stage.
Oh yeah, there's a show where we have like you can step off the stage and onto like pods and stuff. And there's been so many times where I've tripped stepping off the stage, and the person that's sitting right there will be like, and I'm like, I know, I messed it up. Like, yeah, it was funny, wasn't it? Saved it.
Yeah, saved it though.
Yep, saved it.
I know that you know that I know. So
I saved it.
Yeah. We'll have that.
But I love the human moments of it too, because as much as like the audience is like, oh, are they okay? They're also like, oh, okay, they do it too.
Yeah. I actually love that. I like watching like shows when I get to, you know, be in the audience, which is fun. But I like to watch shows where sometimes I'll see like a human moment happen, and then like 2 people will like look on stage, like have clocked the moment and kind of like maybe tiny like break character and like have that moment where they like realize, and then seeing that is like it's incredible because it's like, oh, like human, like hi, like that. Those moments to me like mean everything. Or just having little imperfections, you know, I think is what makes art actually the most beautiful.
Amen.
And
especially in shows, I love it because it breaks that, like, I'm up here, you're over there.
Yeah.
It breaks, yes, the fourth wall.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's an actual term for this, but like, not just the fourth wall, but the separation of performer and audience. It's like, no. We're all the same.
We're all the same. And that's like why live is so important. Save live entertainment, because we can't edit. We don't get to go to the cutting room floor and like choose the best takes and stuff. It's like live performance is live. You are seeing humans live their life on stage, and to people that have their own unique, beautiful lives in the audience. And like that live connection, I think, is something that really needs to be cherished. It's a different medium that I think the most beautiful, the most, like, because it's raw, it's real. You can like touch it, you can taste it, you can feel it, like it's there. I love film, love TV, you know, Reels, Instagram, you know, kind of those are awesome mediums as well. But live entertainment, the rawness, you can't replace.
Super random side tangent, but it's interesting because I've taken a lot of acting lessons lately, and of course, you know, scripts and all these things, and he's like, okay, do it the way you practice it, and I'm like, okay, and then it's just okay, but then he'll give me a redirect, and then it'll be great, and he's like, that's great, and I'm like, yeah, because like I'm so used to live entertainment where I can't practice it. I have one shot. Just give me the one shot.
Yeah.
And then there was something we did last week where he was like, okay, so now I want you to take the script and, this is going to be your intention. We're going to change it up. And he was like, you have time to go over it. I was like, I have time to go over it. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. But then I also hate it because I'm so used to just like, hey, we're going to change this.
Yeah.
Do I have time to go over it? No, because next up is show.
Yeah.
So we're going to hope for the best.
Yeah.
And then it always works out well.
Yeah.
Because that's how, it's so interesting. Now I'm on a complete other topic, but
that's really fun. I'm excited for you on this acting journey, but so different. You. So it's with that time, analysis paralysis can set in where you just think maybe you can overthink it. And I think what makes live and what we do so cool, in live entertainment on stage, one shot, is it's instinctual. You are dealing with your instincts. It is the one shot. It is you kind of get to prove to yourself, I got this. I can execute. I can receive a note, take it, manufacture it, package it. It's done. All in one go. Mm-hmm. And that's exciting for you.
I hate it.
Journey.
I hate it because as somebody who overthinks, dancer, growing up in the mirror, perfectionist. If you give me time, I'll overthink it. But if you don't give me time, I don't have a choice but to just do it. And so when you give me time to think about it, now I'm going to make it awful because you gave me time. And
exactly.
Because I'm a perpetual overthinker. Mm. And now I don't know what it is anymore. Mm-hmm. So just tell me about it right now.
Tell me now.
And then just let me do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. That what we're kind of talking about is a thing in my process that I've decided to stop judging and just being this is my process. I used to be so judgy of myself for being a procrastinator because I was why do I wait until certain times? And it just so happens that my best stuff comes out when I'm a time junkie when the clock is ticking and I go off of instinct and I need a little bit of that pressure to be all right, I got to make something and make it now. And I think sometimes when it's there's a month out for a project and we're going to rehearse in a month, I think some people, their process would have them start really early in that. I almost feel I need space away from it and let things kind of come to me and let that kind of pool in my brain for some time. And then when it comes to just talking turkey, I'll wait until closer to. And I'm not judging it anymore. That's just how I operate because the instinct is what I want to feel the strength of. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all right. It's okay to wait the night before to write your college thesis.
Yeah. Because I need inspiration to strike too.
Yes.
Because if I'm going to start doing it and I don't feel like doing it, it's going to turn out like garbage.
I know what you mean.
It's going to be garbage. It just is.
Or it just, nothing you're going to do is going to be garbage. But I get the mentality towards it.
Because it's okay, I'm kind of forcing myself to do it. But when I wait and when I have to do it, it'll work. It'll be so much better. It'll be so much better.
Agreed.
Ugh.
Pressure creates diamonds.
Yeah.
It does.
It does.
It does. It creates diamonds. And I mean, years and years and years have gone by where I've been so mad at myself or just judging it. Why am I like this? It's well, I'm just built like this. And my best stuff comes out when I have this pressure and when I've got a pressure of time junkie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's really interesting too, to learn that about yourself, but then also be okay with it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because it's been since I've been dancing for eons. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that process was a lot slower and a lot different with different ages.
Yeah.
And now learning a new skill in adult life is oh, okay, I can analyze this process and figure out what works for me quicker.
Yeah.
On a deeper scale in a shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
And being okay with it, too.
The acceptance of self, of how you are, how you work, what draws you in, what doesn't excite you, what does. It's all of these things, knowing these things. Yeah, you get to the good part quicker because you don't think that you should be doing everything everywhere all at once. You kind of know where you go, and if you want to open up a new lane, you know how you are, and you're going to bring yourself into that lane and walk with yourself down that road. But the knowing of self is like, that's the sweet spot. Like, I love my 30s for this. Like, it's only getting better. It's really good. It's so good.
It is only getting better, and it will always get better. Let's see. Was there anything else that I had in my head to ask? Oh, I feel like you'll have a good answer to this one. I don't ask this one to everybody, but whenever it pops up into my head, I make sure to ask. If you were given a billboard that you knew everybody in the world was going to see, what would you put on it? What would your message be?
Okay, this is really cheesy. It would say something about be kind instead of nice. Maybe not instead, like something about the difference of being kind versus being nice.
Yeah.
And I think this goes along with the root of who I am as a person, but as a teacher. There's like a kindness in my heart that how I enter and try to do anything, it leads with that first. I lead with that first. And the difference for me, I think growing up in Texas, I felt very like I had people pleasy, And so sometimes like it was always like, be nice to everybody, be very nice. And I think there was a bit of like feeling like I had to put on this, be nice to everybody. But there didn't feel like it didn't feel like it was coming from an honest place yet, or I didn't know yet. I was really young, and it just was about being a nice girl, be really put together and nice. But kindness, as I've grown into the woman that I am, I realize that there's such a difference. And although I still I'm kind of like a recovering people pleaser, that's just sometimes being a performer, and being a woman, sometimes that was my cross to bear growing up and navigating through that and kind of growing out of that and still growing. I've realized the difference in my woman is being kind, because kindness is rooted in honesty. And honesty is the most important kind of pillar to have. And as I've grown into the woman I am, being honest with myself, honest and accountable and honest with like my values and then being honest with others is and sometimes it might not come out cute, nice, in these packaged like pleasing ways, but you can never go wrong with honesty and having honest relationships, honest conversations, and having kindness with that. Honest from the heart is kindness. And I think the world would be a better place if they moved from that spot rather than kind of facades of niceness or, things that look nice. We get the like Instagram scrolling, everybody's putting their nicest, like you can see the highlight reels of all the things, but a kindness scroll might involve like more raw, honest things from the heart. So I think just in general, we could use more kindness. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, last question. Again, it's a big one. If you could tell your self just graduating college, going into the professional world, what would you tell yourself? Tell yourself one thing.
Oh, I would say slow down. Slow down. I think my personality at that point in my life, I had a lot of momentum, but not a lot of like like a lot of buzz and wanting to kind of do it all and try everything. And I think with that, if I had balanced with having moments of slowing down and tuning in while continuing to tune out, I think having a balance there, I think I would have saved myself from maybe anxiety-ridden moments or still, thoughts about body and worries and things that are just not based in reality. I think slow down. My mom would always say that to me. Why are you moving so fast? I love time. I love to just go fast, But when I slow down, I'm able to move through the world with my best version, because I think the slowing down, the quiet, in balance with the chaos, with the excitement, with the stage, with the lights, camera, lashes, everything. That balance that I've found now is sweet. And I would tell her, slow down, but I know she wouldn't listen. She would not listen. No. Hard at that age too, but it's like hard to tell me anything, when I got my mindset on how everything's supposed to be, or I know what's going on, and then you look back, you're like, oh, babe, you were flailing. You were flailing around.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners today?
I just want to thank you for having me and creating a space like this. It's really cool to talk about dance and talk about process. And what's so beautiful is all of these things are my truths and my processes and the way my brain works. But I think it's so beautiful to see how so many artists around me and in Vegas and in LA that have their own unique processes too. And I think it's really cool that you create a space for people to dive deeper and share kind of the inside of their brain and their heart. And I always say that sometimes if I'm running a rehearsal and I'm kind of like talking and going on 4 different tangents all in about 30 seconds. And then I'll kind of just take a moment and I'll be like, okay, you just saw what the inside of my brain looks like. What do you think? And like, this is kind of that. And I think this is really, really beautiful. And I just want to celebrate everybody continuing on their own journey, their odyssey, and everything is temporary. Stages of life, or your stages of life, are temporary. And that is something that can feel like sad, but it's kind of beautiful. So if something's tough, that won't last, just stay the course. And then if something's really, really good, that hopefully lasts as long as it can. But, that'll also transpire and transcend into another part of your journey. So just kind of stay in it, stay the course, and try not to let your head take you out of the given moment, because there's so much to learn in each moment. And I think being present, slowing down is beautiful. So thank you for having me.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for being here. It's
you.
amazing. And everybody, I also like to use the analogy, there's not one road to get to the City of Oz. Dorothy just decided to take the yellow one.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's so nice to hear that everybody's path is different. Everybody's process is different. And everybody has different perspectives. And like, it's just, hopefully it lets other performers and artists know that they're not alone if they feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Or if they, quote unquote, haven't figured it out yet, or
Yeah.
are still looking for something, or I don't know, need some type of reassurance or confirmation, or, just a little pick me up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Trust yourself. Trust your process, and also trust that you'll get there. You'll get to the other side. And if it's like a mental or emotional, like something you're dealing with, like for you and in yourself and in your heart, like you will get there. Just trust yourself. Trust. It only gets better. That's why I love getting older. It's so cool. You just like trust more and care like a little bit less. So cool. So that's my advice. Just continue to get older.
I love it. Thank you so much. I'll have your Instagram handle and other things you sent me in the description if anybody wants to keep up and follow you. And
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Before the Curtain. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever it is you listen to the podcast. We love to hear your virtual round of applause. If you know of a production or artist that deserves to have their story told, send us an email or message us on Instagram by clicking the link in the description.